Choi, a university graduate, is on his way to a job interview when his girlfriend called to reassure him that his qualifications would help him secure the position. During his journey, a man unexpectedly bumped into him and ran into the road. He held on to his arm and was about to say something but he couldn't. He collapsed and died. This incident shocked Choi and affected his ability to concentrate during the interview. He was nervous and shaky due to what happened to the man he came across before the interview. He struggled to respond to questions, which ultimately led to him not being offered the job. Following this experience, Choi took on various jobs to support himself, including working as a factory worker, taxi driver, and bartender. Despite these efforts, he continued to apply for job interviews without success. Eventually, he secured an interview with a company where the boss expressed understanding of Choi's challenging circumstances and acknowledged his hard work in earning his degree without a father. Choi felt hopeful when he was told they would get back to him. After leaving the office, Choi received a call about a friend's business investment that turned out to be a scam and the friend is nowhere to be found. Concerned, he rushed to his friend's apartment. He knocked at the door with pain and anger hoping his friend is still at home, which disturbed the neighbors and led them to contact the police. Choi explained the situation to the officer, who informed him that there was little they could do since it was a matter of investment. Feeling frustrated, Choi visited his girlfriend's house, where he saw someone drop her off with flowers. This sight added to his distress, leading him to suspect that his girlfriend might be involved with someone else. These made him more sad and also added to the bad things happening to him that day. Since he got no money and he is not happy about this, he asked if she's seeing someone else. She said no. She gave him an envelope which he collected reluctantly but later gave it back to her, and also broke up with her saying, he made her suffer and he can't keep her, since he can't take care of her. They were both sad as he left. Getting home he met his luggages outside and the door was closed by his landlord with a note that he has rented the apartment to another person because his rent is due. Things keeps falling apart for Choi. He had no choice but to sit down outside till morning. He received a message from the company that interviewed him that they didn't employ him. His life becomes a living hell. This made him decide to commit suicide by falling from the top of a high building. He wrote a suicide note and left his phone on top of it. As he fell, his mom called. He finds himself blindfolded as he removed it from his face. Shocked, he looks around and also looked at himself. He realized he's as a private jet. He thinks he on his way to heaven but he noticed he's in a different body. He sees a lady dressed in black reading his suicide note. He was shocked how she also knew his real name. Then he asked who she is. She removed her dark shade as her eyes changed to red. Choi finds himself in a strange place in his real form with the lady. They are on a high tower and below it is a bloody water filled with monsters. She told him she is the angel of death and she would punish him for taking his life. In fear, he asked if they are in hell and she answered, no, but they are on their way to hell. She threw him to the monsters but he woke up in the private jet. She told him his punishment is to enter 12 different bodies and to try his best not to die, but regardless of how much he tries, he will still die brutally with each body, but he must try not to die. She then disappeared. As she left, a storm started. The cloud changed and everything was dark. He tries not to fall out of his seat as a lady flight attendant came to tell him to tell the situation is temporary. He doubted her and thinks he's to die. The weather was normal again. He then stood up to look around. He sees lots of expensive things. While he was thinking how to live his life now that he's rich, a shining stone come towards him. LT includes the memory of the owner of the body he's in. The person happens to be the second son of the company he applied for and he is currently on his training to be the CEO of the company. After seeing all this, he plans to survive at all costs to get a good life. Shortly after his thoughts, the plane engine caught fire. The plane crashed and he burned to death. He woke up in the afterlife with pain. There are bullets and a clock ticking for each life. He asked the angel of death about the shenanigan stone that came to him. She explained to him it consists the memory and ability of the owner of the body he's in, and the stone would come to him every time he enters a new body. Holding her gun, she took one of the bullets on the table and also explained every time he dies he would be shot by these bullets before he goes on to his next life. She shot him and he fell to his next life. He woke up as a skydiver in the air, falling from the sky without a parachute. He is scared and wonder if he can truly survive any of these deaths. While falling, the shining stone came to him. The owner of the body happens to be a person that do all sort of reckless and dangerous sport, and he was on a mission to fall from a great height above the ground and would be rewarded 3 billion. After the vision, Choi gained courage from the abilities of the owner of the body. They were live streaming this incident and people were watching all over the world, but he failed and died immediately. He woke up in the afterlife. He was annoyed. He told the angel of death there's no possible way for him to save these people from death. She told him there's a way he could change the way they end their life. He pleaded to her for seeing death as a means of just putting an end to everything. She shot him to begin his next life. He appeared in the middle of a school hallway. He rushed to check himself in a mirror as a high school student. He sees a guy watching a video of how he died in his previous life. He was about to smack the guy when the shining stone came around that time. The owner of the body happens to be a kid with no father, and a struggling mother. He wants to study because of his mother, but he is constantly bullied in school by the guy Choi wanted to smack his head and the guy's group. He wrote a suicide note and was planning to kill himself. Knowing this, all he had to do was not to commit suicide. This made him happy because he would be able to avoid going to hell. The bully came to him and demanded he brings milk to him after the class and also smacked his head as he was going. This made Choi annoyed. He stood up to fight, which he was able to, until a big guy held his hand when he was about to punch the bully and knocked him down. They held him and are about to beat him up, but a teacher was approaching the class. Later that day they took him to the school basketball court and bullied him there. The big guy tried to stop the leader, but he got slapped too. He showed inconvenience, which Choi noticed. Getting home, he saw a note left by the boy's mum. This reminded him of his mum too. At night he was about to call his mum when the bully sent him a text. He decided to deal with the bully before calling his mom. The next day in classroom, the big guy raised his hand to go to the restroom. Choi followed him. He asked if he could beat the leader in a fight. He told him to keep shut and know his place. Choi said he was only asking because he knows the guy is stronger and he should be the boss. While they were talking, the bully walked in and they ended the conversation. The big guy walked out and Choi followed him. The guy then told him, the bully is only the boss because he got some real gangster backing him up. In the cafeteria, Choi was eating when the bully shoved his head in his food. Choi stood up and poured the food on his head, mocked him and went out. He called for the big guy but he declined and also mocked him too. The bully is really embarrassed. He ran out too. He went to his gangster friends. They all came to school to teach whoever messed up with him in school a lesson. They saw Choi as a little guy and were embarrassed. They came all the way to beat a little guy like him. The gangsters told him never to act like they are friends again. This turned him to an outcast and a lonely person in school. Later that night Choi was seen building some muscles for himself in the street. He met the bully. He blamed him for being an outcast, but Choi told him the fault is his. He left him and put on his AirPod. While going home he almost got hit by a truck, but the truck stopped. As the truck was going, the bully attacked him with a stone against his head and killed him brutally. He woke up in the afterlife. He's not really sure if there's a way he could survive any of these deaths. The angel of death told him there is, and shot him to begin his next life. This time, he wakes up as a guy. His head is covered with a black sack. Without knowing anything about who or where he is, they poured water on him before uncovering his face. A guy seated like a boss asked him where the girl and money is. Choi doesn't know anything about this yet. They were about to remove his eyes when he told them he will tell them everything about the girl and money, but he doesn't know yet. They should give him a little time. The boss is about to smash his head when the shining stone came to him. The person he occupied his body happens to be a worker for the biggest gangster in the country. He saved a girl from his boss and promised her to run away with her. He also stole 10 billion from his boss and he's currently on the run. Knowing this, he immediately fought the guys that were about to kill him. They are in a moving truck transporting him to the big boss. He is a well-talented and skillful fighter. Choi used this ability against them. He also used the guy's ability being a good bike rider to escape from the moving truck. Lots of groups are after him because of the huge reward the big boss would give whoever catches him. Being a skillful fighter and also a good bike rider, he manages to make those after him crash their cars, but there are also bike riders after him too. Please like and subscribe for more videos, and if you want to see the full recap story, let me know in the comment section.